Welcome back to Operation Freedom, folks. I'm Dr. Dave Janda, broadcasting from our ancillary bunker, linked to our main Freedom Bunker at Wham Talk 1600, which is based behind enemy lines in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor. I'd like to thank you for joining us today for our election edition. This is our motivation, if you will, segments, if you will, on getting out there and not only voting, but trying to educate and empower as many people as possible. Look, even in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor, it is difficult to find someone, if you walk up to them and say, so you're voting for Biden. Let's say they still have a lawn sign. Let's say they still believe that him and his son and his family laundering money through communist China, through Ukraine, through Russia, through Romania, through Kazakhstan is fine with them. Let's say that they're just still okay with that. If you go up to them, and I have, and you ask people, so why are you supporting Biden? Here's what they say. Well, I don't like Trump. Well, no, excuse me. No. I asked you why you are supporting Biden. And the only answer other than them walking away is, well, I think he's a nice guy, and I don't like how Trump behaves sometimes. So you think he's honest? Well, yeah. Well, do honest people, do they money launder through the communist Chinese government that has been proven to be the fact off of these documented emails that are legitimate, through the FBI, the Department of Justice, the Department of National Intelligence, through John Radcliffe, the director? Is that a prerequisite for being honest, to launder money through communist China, Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Romania? Well, and that's when they usually walk away. But, Joe Biden, as we played in the last segment, Joe Biden has actually admitted that he really is corrupt. And he did this 30-some years ago, very soon after he was elected to the United States Senate out of Delaware. And it's a clip you'll never hear through the bought-off lamestream fake media. Derek, hit that clip for us, will you?
Senator Biden, welcome to the Advocates.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Senator Biden, it's nice to have you here. As the youngest member of the Senate, the one, therefore, who may expect the longest career there, I wonder if you'd say to us, since it's clear that you're not corrupt and you got elected, why should people think that the system produces corrupt results when there you are?
Well, I'm not sure you should assume I'm not corrupt, but thank you for that, though. The system does produce corruption, and I think implicit in the system is corruption, when in fact, whether or not you can run for public office, and it costs a great deal of money to run for the United States Senate, even from a small state like Delaware, you have to go to those people who have money, and they always want something.
So the people you have to go to are the deep state, and they always want something. But did you hear the beginning of that clip? Did you hear it? Quote, "You should not assume I am not corrupt." End quote. Oh, interesting. Now, that was 30-some years ago. So we don't have the dementia issues like we do now, rearing its head on a not even daily basis, not even hourly basis. It's almost a minute-to-minute basis. But there you have it. He was telling you something early on. Quote, "You should not assume I am not corrupt." End quote. Which is why when I got word through General McInerney and a number of other high-level contacts yesterday that there was some illegality occurring through the deep state and through their puppet Joe Biden's campaign occurring as it relates on the vote front, an electronic vote front. Now, we've already seen his campaign director in Texas being caught. There was also some shenanigans specifically going on in Houston. Jimmy O'Keefe exposed a lot of that. The Attorney General in Texas, Paxson, has identified a significant amount. We had Jimmy O'Keefe also with Project Veritas, great patriot, identify the shenanigans that have been occurring in Minnesota. Frankly, folks, they've been occurring all over the country. But what was new that General McInerney brought to me yesterday was the electronic, if you will, skimming of votes after they were already counted and cast and before they were sent to if you will, a depository of the votes to be counted or to be recorded. We're going to talk about that in the 4:30 to 5 segment today. Now, General McInerney, along with Admiral Ace Lyons, came on my show on March 19th, 2017, and blew a hole in the deep state. They, for the first time on radio or on TV, outlined what investigative journalists Mary Fanning and Alan Jones had previously reported a couple weeks before, but then General McInerney and Admiral Lyons had confirmed through their military intelligence contacts that Obama, Brennan, Clapper, Mueller, Comey, along with a number of their aides, had actually commandeered an initial system that was legal called the Hammer that was looking at terrorists internationally to prevent terror in our country. They took that surveillance platform and privatized it for their own use and then turned it on the American public for political means so that they could get information to control, to bribe, and to blackmail individuals. And maybe this makes sense of Justice Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and some of the aberrant decisions he has made over the years. Just look back in time when he essentially fabricated law in order to implement Obamacare. I believe, and many other people believe, that fabricated decision that he came up with was completely based on information that had been gleaned through the Hammer that was presented to him to blackmail him. And we still see those ramifications today. Just look at several of his votes as it relates to, quote, counting all the votes, end quote. In the 4:30 to 5 segment today, General McInerney is going to come forward with blockbuster information that we actually got out to our subscribers at davejanda.com last night. And it was an urgent alert about how the deep state is attempting to steal the election and how every listener, every one of our subscribers can stop them in their tracks. You see, many people believe that they don't have the power. I'm one person. I don't have the power to make a difference. Nothing can be further from the truth, especially with this. You see, here's what we have done, the Patriots, behind the curtain. Starting yesterday, one, we've exposed the criminal deep state operation that they're involved with, that we will go into further detail in the 4:30 to 5 segment today. So, if you're listening terrestrially and Wham Talk 1600 or FM Wham 92.7, let everyone know in your terrestrial network to listen to the live interview I do with General McInerney from 4:30 to 5. If you're on the internet, get on the phone and tell your friends to go to davejanda.com, hit the listen live button, and go, which will take you to Wham Talk 1600 streaming service, and hit play, and you'll be with us. And then get the information and network it to anyone and everyone you know. Because the key is networking that information to your friends, your families. And what we've been doing is we've been networking on many different channels into the Trump administration, into the president. And I am very confident that as of this morning, the president is aware of what we are going to talk to you about between 4:30 and 5. But here's where you come in. You are absolutely critical. You need to vote. I know I don't want to stand in line for a couple hours. Please do this for the future of your country. Make that sacrifice. Vote. And not only vote, but take as many people with you as possible and vote. And in particular, vote for the freedom side of the ballot. That would be President Trump and John James in the Senate here in Michigan, and the entire red side of the ballot here in Michigan and in every state. We have listeners in all 50 states. Because the internal polls that I have been privy to show the president doing very well, that we're going to hold the Senate, we're going to gain seats in the House, and if we can turn this hard, we could well get the House back and put Nancy Pelosi out of business. And all the other clowns that are with her, the Nadlers and the Schiffs and all of them. But it comes down to you. You see, the way we can overwhelm what they're trying to do with their vote skimming apparatus is to overwhelm the polls in numbers. If we come in with such huge numbers, no matter how they tried to skim, they can't pull it off. That's the key. the more people we can get out. So if you have a neighbor that's disabled or having difficulties, help them get to the polls. If you have family and friends that are on the fence, I'm not sure how that would be the case this far down the line, but if they're on the fence and they don't know what to do, or they're just thinking maybe sitting out, tell them to vote for their future. Vote for freedom. I mean, look at the disparity here that's been created. Joe Biden's future is a dark winter where you're going to have to wear a mask in your own house. That's what this guy's talking about. That's your future with Joe Biden. And frankly, wearing a mask inside your own house is going to be the least of your troubles if that guy gets in there with all the totalitarian thugs lined up behind him. And if you want proof, just look at one of his little hench people, this totalitarian thug governor in the state of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, who should already have been recalled, by the way. Her latest totalitarian move, is if you go to a restaurant starting tomorrow, Monday, November 2nd, you have to leave your name and your phone number so the authorities can have it that you actually had the audacity to go out and eat in a restaurant. And in a true totalitarian thug fashion, if the restaurant doesn't get your name or phone number, well, they can be penalized. Oh, I'm sure fined. Oh, gosh, knowing her, probably she'll try to imprison people. That's the dark winter. As opposed to what President Trump has shown you is your future. That shining city on a hill that Ronald Reagan discussed, only even greater than a shining city on a hill. A city that has an incredibly bright future. And what they're left to, they tried their voter by mail scam, and guess what? That didn't work. And then they tried to suppress the vote. By how? By hitting you with a bunch of fake polls. And by the way, for 10 years I have told you, stop listening to Fox News. Yes, their management is all globalist. The Murdochs and their little hench people in management in Fox all sit on the Council on Foreign Relations. They're deep state hacks. Now, yes, there are the Tucker Carlsons, the Laura Ingrams, the Lou Dobbs, the Elizabeth McDonalds that are solid. Hannity, I wish he'd stop wearing the CIA pin. It bothers me. Call me a bad guy. It bothers me. Why? I don't know how many times you've dealt with folks in the CIA. I've dealt with them a number of times. I've yet to have a pleasurable experience with anyone there. I would never buy anything that they're selling. Okay. But these polls, I am getting, poll on Fox News said the president's down. Stop. The internal polls, as I've outlined in the first segment, are incredibly positive for the president, for the Senate, and the House is moving our way, the freedom way. But this came out from Paul Sperry. This gives you a little bit of an idea. Records reveal the analyst who will run Fox News election decision desk. That's the polling. That's declaring who wins or loses a state. Remember this, because when the results start coming in, even when they're favorable to Donald Trump, they're going to try to make it look unfavorable, just as they did in 2016. The analyst who will run Fox News election decision desk is a registered Democrat who voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016 and gave Democrats more than $4,000, including $1,525 for Obama. Arnon Mishkin will announce states for Biden or Trump on election night. Now, anyone who still buys into this Fox News, fair and balanced BS, come on, wake up. So what are they left with? Their mail-in ballot thing didn't work to try to overwhelm. That didn't work. And now they're panicked. People are seeing through their polls. Patriots are saying, don't believe the fake polls. Don't believe the deep state polls. And I'm telling you, the internal polls are all very, very positive and moving even more so into Trump and the freedom movement's agenda's pockets. So now they're left with skimming votes. And that's where you come in. Vote. Get as many people to vote. Educate as many people to vote. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 4:30 to 5 segment with General McInerney, and I'm going to have it up on YouTube through Nick and our IT team and Derek. We're going to get that thing up there, and that will be your networking tool to get to anyone and everyone you know Because anyone that's going to listen to that interview that we're going to do live, anyone that listens to that interview and still votes for Biden, I could say many different things, but my wife would kill me. Let's just say this. Anyone that listens to that interview and still votes for Biden is hopeless. They are hopeless. They are zealots. But Joe Biden said something this week. He tipped you off that they were into the vote skimming business as their means of potentially trying to win. I don't think they're going to be able to win because I think it's going to be so overwhelming because you are going to go vote and you are going to get many people to vote that maybe even didn't think they were going to vote earlier today. But Joe Biden, he tipped us off this week. He talked about voter fraud. Derek, do you have that clip? Can you hit it?
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
There you go. Basement Joe slipped. I want to read for you something written by David Sound, published in the Federalist. I didn't vote for Trump in 2016, but I crawl over broken glass to vote for him now. He goes on, I don't care about the tone of his tweets, nor if his opponents think he's rude. I've seen that he's a patriot who generally loves the United States of America and its people. Even though I had voted for every Republican presidential candidate since 1980, I didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016. This is from David Sound, not David Janda. David Janda voted for President Trump and proudly did so. Took a lot of heat for it, actually, at the time. Proud I did. Best vote I've ever casted. David Sound goes on, many Republican nominees had been huge disappointments to me, and I wasn't going to vote for yet another GOP candidate I thought would betray my trust. I couldn't imagine Trump as a genuine conservative who would champion limited government, respect individual freedom and liberty, and protect the unborn, but was I ever wrong? Although I didn't vote for Trump in 2016, I would crawl over broken glass to vote for him in 2020. In 2016, I was convinced Trump was just another New York liberal. On election night, however, I smiled. I was happy that at least Hillary Clinton wouldn't be president, and I suspected that the next 4 years with Trump would at least be entertaining. The primary reason I didn't vote for Trump in 2016 was that I didn't believe him. I didn't trust that he would be pro-life, a non-negotiable issue for me. His bluster and bravado didn't appeal to me. I took him literally, but not seriously, in contrast to his supporters who took him seriously, but not literally. By the time Trump took office, I was willing to give him a chance. He was the president, after all, and deserved the opportunity to prove himself. During the first year of his presidency, I was impressed by his commitment to keeping his campaign promises, unlike most politicians. By the end of 2017, I classified myself as a Trump supporter because of what he had already done as president. Trump's list of first-term accomplishments had been truly impressive, building the strongest U.S. economy in my lifetime through historic business and personal tax cuts, resulting in millions of jobs created and record low unemployment. Cutting federal government regulations that had a stranglehold on American business innovators and entrepreneurs. Confronting China's trade abuses and negotiating fair trade deals with Canada, Mexico, South Korea, and Japan. Eliminating the Obamacare individual mandate. Rebuilding our military through investments in our defense capabilities, as well as securing the largest military pay raise in a decade. Nominating and confirming more solid conservative circuit court judges than any other first-term administration. Nominating and fighting for the confirmation of 3 originalist judges, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. Moving the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem and then brokering the Abraham Accords peace deal between Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, and Sudan. Consistently fighting Democrats to build the wall to secure our southern border, reinforcing and repairing hundreds of miles with more construction on the way. This is just a brief summary of the Trump administration's accomplishments. He has promoted a culture of life in his domestic policies. He has forever changed our country for the positive. Bottom line, David Sound, I'd crawl over broken glass to vote for Donald Trump now. And so would I. And so should you. I've said since the outset, this is our 10-year anniversary of this radio show. I've said, one of the first things I said on this radio show was that when Ronald Reagan left office in January 1989, our country forever changed. Because every person, as of 10 years ago, that occupied the Oval Office since Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Hussein Obama, every person who occupied that Oval Office was owned and operated by a criminal syndicate, what's been called the deep state. I never thought I would say this. The most important president in my lifetime was Ronald Reagan. Until now. There is no doubt in my mind, and I've seen it from the inside, folks. I've been there since 1988. A bird's eye view. There has never been a more important president of the United States in my lifetime that has cherished freedom and liberty and the American public than Donald J. Trump. That's not hyperbole. That's fact.